Hello everyone and welcome to the Kiki London YouTube channel. My name's Amanda and in today's video we are going to be doing a builder gel cuticle ombre. So I really hope you all enjoy watching. Now in last week's video when we were working with the sculpting gel, I mentioned the easy build up gel and it kind of reminded me that it's been a little while since we've done a builder gel video on the channel. Since the sculpting gel launched, I've kind of focused on that more if I've done any gel video, but the easy build up gel certainly has its place, so I thought it was time that we did a little design using it. Now I'm going to start off with prepping as normal. So I have cleansed the nail plate using some sanitizer, and then I'm going to come in with the Helsinki cuticle tool. Now if you've watched any prep videos on the channel, you will know how much I rave about this tool. It is one of my favorites from the K&S collection. I love that it's got the straight end. It just gets right down into those side walls and removes any stubborn cuticle, which is where I tend to get a fair bit. And then as you can see, you can switch to the angular side of this, which really helps scrape out anything that might be being even more stubborn. So it really helps remove any stubborn, dry cuticle that you've got growing up the nail plate. Then I do like to switch to the Sophia tool to push back any of that living tissue. So anything that's not dead and you're not wanting to remove, but you're still wanting to push it back to expose as much of the nail plate as possible, the Sophia tool is brilliant for that. And I love that it's double-ended, so there's a side to suit every size nail plate. So once I have finished up the cuticle work, if you would like to see a more in-depth cuticle prep video, I will leave it linked in the description box below. So once I have finished with the cuticle work, I'm going to come in and buff the nail plate very gently just to remove any shine from the surface of the nail. Just doing this gently using the 180 grit side of the buffer and kind of going in circular motions and trying not to go over the same spot too much. You kind of just want to make sure you're going over the entire nail once just to etch and remove the shine. And then I just went in with the 180 grit side of the Kiki London file just to neaten up the free edge. Now of course, if you are wanting to take down the length of the nail or create more of a shape, you could do this as well. I was just keeping with that square shape that I have, as I quite like that on my nails at the moment. So I was just more neatening up from where I'd removed my previous product, just wanting to make sure everything looks nice and crisp. Then we're going to move on to priming and then our base coat. So for our base today, I'm going to be using RB09. I really wanted to have this soft, milky look to the design. So I've decided to go in with this rubber base coat with the milky shade. You could use RB01 here if you wanted a more solid white, but like I said, I wanted to go for that soft white look. Now with my rubber base coat, I really like to scrub and work it into the prepped nail plate. This gives absolutely amazing adhesion and a little bit does go a long way. Now of course, if you wanted to use this for color, you could come in and do a second coat of it, but because we're going to be doing nail art and then our design with builder gel, I'm only going to do one coat of this. So with one coat, because we're going to be using the snow glaze, which is a milky white builder gel, it just paired beautifully only using one coat of this. You see here I come in with my striped liner brush just to make sure I was getting as close to that cuticle as possible and also getting a nice neat cuticle line around those side walls as well. Then once that's cured, we're going to start by going in with our cuticle glitter fade. Now I'm going to start off by going in with the gorgeous amber flame. The glitter that I want to use is a raw glitter, but it's quite a chunky mix, so when you're trying to get that neat down at the cuticle line, it can be quite hard. And the other thing is when you're working down at that cuticle area, you want to keep everything as thin as possible, which can be quite hard when you're using a chunky glitter mix. So I always like to come in and apply a fine glitter mix that matches the chunky glitter as best as possible. So I'm coming in with my striped liner brush and the amber flame gel polish and just getting a nice neat cuticle line so everything looks really seamless, really pretty and neat, and then just building up the color a little bit and then fading this down just to start creating that glitter fade. You aren't going to see too much of this glitter unless you look up close, but it makes such a difference having it there. Now I'm going to leave that wet and that's what I'm going to use to stick in my chunkier glitter. Now because I don't want to add too much bulk or I don't want to build up anything at that cuticle area, I'm simply going to pick this raw glitter up using my striped liner brush and pressing it down into that wet amber flame gel polish. And I'm trying my best, although this is a multi-cut glitter mix, there isn't too many super fine pieces in there. So I'm trying to pick up the more medium size and some of the smaller pieces to get as much coverage as I can over that glitter, but without layering the glitter up, because this is where you start creating a too bulky nail. And when you're doing layered nail art, it's very easy for the nail to become bulky quickly. So you want to make sure that you just take your time, and that's why I like applying these glitter mixes like this when I'm trying to keep everything thin. By doing it this way, I can control how much I pick up and I can get rid of some before applying it onto the nail. I then did decide to come over with a little bit more amber flame and just place it very gently over the top of those glitter pieces. One, it's going to help hold them in place, but two, it brings back a little bit more of that finer sparkle. Now I do also have some chunky glitter leaf sequins that I also want to encapsulate in, but I don't want to add too many thick layers. So I'm actually going to encapsulate that in with the snow glaze, so we start creating that Milky Ombre look. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with a thin layer of snow glaze. Now snow glaze is an absolute gorgeous builder gel shade. I love that if you build it up, you can get quite a more pigmented white, but then you can also still create really milky, soft looks with it. So I'm going to start off by applying a thin coat of this pretty much over all of the nail. I'm just not going right up to that cuticle line, because at that cuticle line, that's where I want that glitter to really pop and be really glittery and sparkly. So I don't want to cover it up with too much milky look there. And then whilst that layer of a builder gel is still wet, I'm going to come in and place down these larger glitter sequin shapes. Now these are quite chunky, so I don't want to push them up close to the cuticle. I'm kind of keeping them where my apex is going to be. And then once we've got them in place, I'm just going to pop this in to cure for 60 seconds so that they are solid and stuck down. And then we are going to continue with the snow glaze builder gel to create our Milky Ombre look and also build up some of the nail. So I'm going to start off by coming in with my slip layer, and your slip layer is a thin layer of gel that's going to guide your ball of builder gel on where to go. So you want to place this everywhere that you're building with. Now I don't want to build with the snow glaze right up to that cuticle area, because like I mentioned, we want it to have that Milky Ombre look. So we want that glitter at the cuticle area to pop as much as possible. So I'm blending this down a little bit, and then once I'm happy with how that looks, we're not going to pop this into cure. We're then going to pick up our ball of gel, and then this is where we're going to build up some of our strength and structure. So as you can see, I want my apex to be in that back third of the nail, so that's where we want our thickness and our structure to start. Now of course this is quite a short nail, so we don't need to build up too much thickness. And then I'm just taking this ball of gel from side to side, working it all the way down to the tip of the nail. And because I haven't used the Easy Build Up Gel in a while, I forgot how easy this is to work with. This product has the most beautiful consistency, but it's just so easy to work with. It's a medium viscosity, so it's not too thin that it starts running around the nail, but then it's not too thick that you've got to put a lot of effort in to move it to where it needs to go. As you could see there, I very effortlessly moved this from side to side. I was able to leave the majority of the gel where I wanted it, which was where I placed it down to start creating that apex, but then I was also able to really easily move it from side to side with a really gentle motion to get it to go down towards the tip of the nail and start building up that tip. Now I don't need this to be super thick, so that's why I haven't had to stress about building up too much structure. We do still need to come in and encapsulate the glitter that's right down at the cuticle area of the nail, otherwise it's going to file off when we go to filing the nail. And then also there's going to be a part of the nail as it grows out that would be too thin because we didn't go over it with the snow glaze. So I'm going to apply a thin layer of a crystal clear Easy Build Up Gel to the entire nail, and then I'm just going to really nudge this as close as I can to the cuticle area with my stripe liner brush, making sure that this is fully encapsulating and building up a little bit of thickness as well. So you can see here I come in with a ball of gel on my stripe liner brush and I'm just nudging that into place, just because I still want it there to be enough thickness there that that glitter is fully encapsulated. You're not going to have any chipping issues. But then also, like I said, so as the nail grows out, there's enough strength there as the nail is growing down that natural nail plate. If you didn't do this, it would be too thin and then would more than likely start lifting. So once I've got that slip layer in place, I'm going to come in with my ball of gel and just build up a little bit more thickness there. I would rather make the nail a little bit too thick at this point and then be able to file and contour everything. Now, I'm not talking about adding loads of excess bulk that you've got to file off, but I want to make sure that there's enough thickness there that I can come in with my file and contour around the nail, and also so that I can be confident that the nail has got good structure. So as you see there, I did also hold the nail upside down for a few seconds before we pop it into cure. This is just to make sure everything self levels and we've got this the thickest part of the nail running down the spine of the nail. So once we had cured that for 60 seconds, I want to file this now like I mentioned. So I'm going to come in and wipe off that tacky inhibition layer that's been left behind from the builder gels. And then I'm going to start off by taking my file and just neatening up those sidewalls, bringing back that crisp shape that was on the natural nail, because sometimes you can lose this when you are applying your gel products. As you could see there, the nail is nice and thin. We haven't got anything too bulky, but I'm just going to come over the surface of the nail, smooth everything out, just so that it looks as perfect as can be. Now, you can skip this step if you feel as though your builder gel application is spot on, everything's where it needs to be, there's no lumps or bumps. You can completely skip filing. If you come in and find that maybe you're a beginner or maybe you're new to builder gel and the nail is quite uneven, then you can spend a little bit more time filing to make sure everything is as smooth as possible. Now, when I'm doing this, because I was quite happy with how this nail turned out, I didn't have a lot of filing to do. But if there are times, especially when working on longer nails, you feel as though everything's a little bit uneven or a little bit too thick, or there's some lumps in places there shouldn't be, then spend a little bit longer with your filing. But as you are doing it, make sure that you're checking the nail from all angles so that you're not over filing certain areas and so that you're not removing any of your apex. I always like to come in and buff the nail after filing just to make sure we're removing any of the harsh scratches that are left behind from the file. So I go over the nail with the 100 grit side and then very gently with the 180 grit side. Again, you want to be careful that you're not over buffing. You don't want to buff the nail to a shine, as then your top coat will have nothing to grab onto. So if you find that after buffing you are having issues with your top coat chipping off, so the whole nail is intact but your top coat chips off, that means you've over buffed the nail and you've created a shiny surface, and gel does not like to stick to a shiny surface. So you can skip buffing, because with a lot of the gel top coats they will fill in any scratches that are left behind from filing, or just limit the buffing. Now, once we had finished that, we cleaned up the nail and we brought the nail back to life using the crystal top coat, and just look at the shine. I really loved how this design turned out. I thought it looked super cute. It's still giving autumn vibes, but it's kind of just showing how the start of autumn, I feel, is very orange. We still get lots of sunshine, and then as we go into November, it starts looking a little bit grey, and I feel as though the Milky White builder gel, snow glaze builder gel really teamed perfectly for this look. Of course, I finished with a little bit of cuticle oil, and this was the finished result. I really loved how cute this turned out, and I'm probably going to have to finish and do a few of these on my other nails just so the set matches. But for now, I'm really happy with how my foam looks. As always, all the products used in today's video will be linked in the description box below. If you did enjoy it, please do give us a thumbs up. Any questions, pop them in the comments below, and I shall see you all again in next Friday's video. Lots of love, take care, thank you so much for watching, bye bye.